Welcome back everybody to the channel. It's me, Alejandro Mendoza, or the Nerd Chicano. Either way how you say it, it's all good here. And we're back again for another video as we continue our journey through Arrow Video's release of Lies and Deceit, 5 films from Claude, Chabrol, and today we're going to be looking at the second film in the set, Inspector Lavardin. Of course, thank you all so much for the love on the last video, and I hope that everyone is doing well. I hope that everyone's safe, happy, and healthy. And of course, if you like content like this or content about physical media in general, make sure that you're subscribed to this channel and make sure you leave a like on this video. And of course, when you're subscribing, make sure that you are also clicking that notification bell so you don't miss a single piece of content that drops on the channel. But enough of that, let's go ahead and get into this review. Last week we started our journey through this set by looking at Cop Au Vin, and today we're going to continue on with the sequel to that 1986 film, Inspector Lavardin. This is looking at another mystery being helmed by none other than our titular character, Inspector Lavardin. But of course, before we can talk about the movie and about the restoration, let's go ahead and look at this introduction from Arrow Video. The hypocrisy of the middle class goes under the knife once more as Jean Pioret returns as the role of the titular detective in Claude Chabrol's Inspector Lavardin. In a small coastal town, a wealthy and respected Catholic author, renowned for his outspoken views against indecency, is murdered. His body found naked and dead on the beach. When Inspector Lavardin arrives to investigate, he uncovers a connection between the dead man and a local nightclub which traffics in sex and drugs. Not to mention that the dead man's wife is an old flame of the inspector. Wily and capricious, with nods to Hitchcock, Henry George Clouzot, and Orson Welles, the Inspector Lavardin films put Chabrol back at the forefront of French cinema. Included in this edition is the high-definition Blu-ray 1080p presentation, original lossless French PCM mono audio, optional English subtitles, brand new commentary by film critic Ben Sachs, Why Chabrol, a brand new interview with film critic Sam Wigley, archive introduction by film scholar Joël Mani, select scene commentaries by Claude Chabrol, theatrical trailer, and an image gallery. Of course, this is the front of this one, and then our back, our spine. I doubt this is gonna be registering because it didn't register last time, but just in case, hopefully it did. And then of course we have our inside with our Blu-ray disc right there. But yeah, pretty simple package like as we saw last time, but just wanted to give you all a nice little refresher. But that is the introduction from Arrow Video. Now, what did I think about this movie? I'm going to be really honest and say that I actually really enjoyed this film. I think it helps a lot that, of course, this is a sequel, so you already kind of know what these films are all about. Chabrol is kind of bringing in a little bit of the detective thriller stories that are found within like Hitchcock and Clouzot and Welles, as said in the introduction. But he takes his own spin with it, and he adds his little flair that works really well. I can't say that I liked it more than Cop Au Vin, but I did enjoy the film a lot. This time around, you already know what this man is all about, and you are used to his like humor and his mannerisms, and I found myself more intrigued in Lavardin. And that was something that I actually liked a lot more this time. We got more time with Lavardin, whereas in the last one, you know, you have a lot of time setting up the crime, and you don't have a lot of time with Lavardin. But in this one, you get that good amount of time with him, and you're able to get to know him more, especially with that little subplot with the old flame of his. The mystery in this one isn't as interesting as the last one, and that's just personal preference in general, because I found the story of displacement being more interesting than a Catholic author that was murdered because he refused to put on a play because he thought it was indecent, even though that title of the play did make me laugh a lot. But I gotta say that the mystery was still really interesting, and our journey to solving the mystery was fantastic, and I really found myself being tied to the screen and making sure that I'm paying attention at what's being said. Chabrol really knows how to direct this sort of anti-Hitchcockian in a way. Like, I'm gonna bring that up again like last week, but in a sense, kind of anti-Hitchcockian, because once again, our Lavardin is showing a little bit more personality traits of the Hitchcock detectives and stuff, but our mystery is still tied to a sort of like ridiculousness if you think about it. And there's where that anti-Hitchcock comes out, and it really does pay off really well when you're looking at the way that the characters kind of interact with each other. And that's ultimately what I enjoyed the most. I love the moments that we get with our characters kind of interacting, and Lavardin interacting with them as well. And it builds a really interesting aura and atmosphere around this really fascinating detective story from Claude Chabrol. So now let's talk about the restoration. I watched this on my Panasonic 4K player on my TCL 4K TV, so I benefited from some upscaling on this disc. And this is another one of those non-4K restorations on this set. This is just a regular high definition transfer of the film, so it's not 4K restorations. The next couple of films, the next 3 actually, are the 4K restorations on this set. Even though they're not restored in 4K quality on a Blu-ray disc, I've got to say, I was really surprised as how beautiful this film actually looks. There's a lot of shots where the sun peeks in, and where there's blues and red and greens that just pop out, and they just are so pleasing to the eye. I found that to be so carefully graded, and I noticed that there was like a really big increase in the quality and grading from the last film, where, you know, and don't get me wrong, the film looks fantastic in the last film as well, and it looks well restored, but in this one you can tell that a lot of the work that went into it was like, okay, we see what we could do with the last one, let's kind of try to up that up, and let's try to, you know, do a little more with this one. And they really did get a really good picture out of it. And of course, it's kind of grainy at times, and that's fine. That's nothing to, you know, extra critical about, because films like this do need that little bit of extra touch to it that made them feel like they were from that time period. But nonetheless, I think it has excellent grain and an excellent picture quality. The resolution on this upscaling looks fantastic, and this is kind of a film that I would actually be interested to see get put on a 4K UHD disc, because I would really be interested to see what this would look like in that type of transfer. But in this film, video-wise, I think it looks fantastic. Audio is pretty much the same thing. I had no complaints with the audio. It looks good. It sounds good. It sounds crisp, no hissing, no scratching. It all feels well balanced. And of course, what I always try to emphasize on the channel is that it doesn't sound like anything that wouldn't match the time period that it comes from. And like I said, it's always good to bring in your Atmos, it's always good to bring in your DTSX and all that, and you can do these great things with the technology that we have at the time. But when you really do bring out that special feeling that you get when you watched it in 1987 compared to 2022 when I'm doing this video, it still sounds like it's something that would come from that time, but it sounds cleaner, it sounds more polished, and that's ultimately what the biggest strength is from this film's transfer. It sounds great, it looks great, and it looks polished enough that I could say that if this would have been the version in 1987, it would have just been as great then as it is right now. So honestly, there's nothing really to complain about. I thought that they just improved on the things that I had a little bit of a teeny little problem, which were mostly nitpicks on the last film, but they improved on it, and they give us a damn good restoration on this disc. Keep up to date with me on all things social media by following me on everything: TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Serialized, Letterboxd, Twitch, at the Nerdy Chicano, and make sure you keep up to date with all the things that we do on the Nerdcore by following us at the Nerdcore on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, and check out our website, thenerdcore.com, for all that wonderful stuff like reviews and podcasts and much more stuff that we have up on there. I'll see you all next week as we continue on with this set and we look at our next film, Madame Bovary, with, of course, to me, in my opinion, one of the greatest actresses of all time, Miss Isabelle Huppert. But in the meantime, to my wonderful cinephiles and renowned scholars, celebrate the love of cinema today, tomorrow, and every day after. Catch you all in the next one, guys. Bye-bye.